Well, what is going on, gang? Welcome back to the channel. It is very nice to have you here today. I have something on the table that makes me extremely happy. This is, of course, the Microtech Stitch. This one is the manual version with their lovely Ram-Lok. This is the aluminum scaled version. So a while back, I mean a long time at this point, I picked up the Auto Stitch, and this rapidly became one of my all-time favorite knives. It is, I mean, it's titanium, it's aluminum. This one is in traditional M390. So the design that this is, of course, off of is the Bohler Blades Stitch, and those are amazing. And they start around $2,500 and go up from there. Poking around today, I saw some that were $5,000. No. However, the day that I got, I'll put this away for a second. The day that I got the Auto Stitch, the first thing I said out loud was, man, I wish they'd make a manual version of this. Now, why? Well, here in California, automatic knives are a bit of a challenge. And there's absolutely no way to pretend this is anything else. Right? Some of the autos I've got, they're very low-key, they're kind of subtle. This is a monster and is anything but low-key and subtle, and I love it. Well, flash forward 3 or 4 years, and they released these. Now, the original version of this was a little bit more like this one in a couple of ways. One, it was right side tip down, excuse me, tip up carry only. They came in G10, and then they started making different versions, and this thing appeared. And so I have a thing. I don't chase drops. I don't like FOMO-driven purchasing. I just don't. And so Microtech is notorious for making what feels like 10 or 11 of a particular knife, and then they sort of walk away for a while. The knife industry, the knife community goes nuts. Everybody's chasing them. I don't do that. I don't do that. If you want my money, make enough knives, I'll give you my money. It didn't change the fact that I really wanted one. Okay, now, come forward from that to last week, and my wife and I are at lunch with a really good friend of ours, goes by Napster Ninja. You may have seen him around in the community. He is a fantastic human being and an excellent collector. And we were discussing my love of the Stitch, and he goes, oh, well, check this out. And he brings this out, and I don't remember much of what was said after that, because this is the first, I can speak. That was the first time I'd had a chance to get one in hand, and it was everything I had hoped it was going to be. So I'm sitting there, and I noticed that it's got the grenade on it. Now, this grenade is an indication that this is a factory second of some sort. I think it might be this little tiny, you can see that? There it is, this little tiny scratch in the, I don't know. Beyond, it's perfect as far as I can tell, but somebody at Microtech didn't think so, so they put that on it, and out it went. Anyway, then he says, well, I have another one. I said, what? He's like, I ended up with 2. Do you want that one? It's this much money, or we could trade for it. And I was like, yes, mine. So, excuse the yelling, I'm very excited. I brought it home. And it is everything that I wanted it to be. Now, there are some differences between the manual version here and the auto that I kind of wish they hadn't done. First and foremost, they got rid of this little sharpening choil, and they widened out the forward choil. So basically, they got rid of this nice clean plunge here and just sort of rolled it out. And I'm not 100% sure why, but hey, it's Microtech's knife. They can do what they want. Also, this is their apocalyptic, I forget what this is called, this particular form of like acid washing or stone washing on the blade that changes the color. They're very proud of that. It's not my favorite thing in the world. Now, having said that, God, these are good knives. Are they the most practical thing ever? Well, no. I mean, they're just not. if you want a practical knife, there are endless opportunities and choices. Just endless. You can spend a medium amount of money and get yourself a bug out, which is, you know, in the end, it's just sort of a perfect little pocket knife. You can spend even less money, I think, and get yourself the Hogue Deca in CPM 20 CV. I mean, it's just a pocket knife, and it's just about perfect. You could spend a little more money and get yourself, you know, a little bigger something. Get yourself the Ritter Hogue. This one's in Magna Cut. These are excellent knives, but they're just pocket knives. If you want something with a little more style, well, you move around in the world, you find yourself with your own tastes, and these speak to mine. So let's take a look at what you get in the spectacular, and this is a mouthful, Microtech Ram-Lok aluminum Stitch. Ba-dum-bum. I don't know. Anyway, we're just going to call it the Stitch. I really do like this thing. The Ram-Lok is fantastic as far as I can tell. I saw some stuff online from some people that I trust that the first generations had some issues. There's always going to be teething problems with a new locking mechanism. Now, this is not just another bar lock. As you can see inside, instead of having Omega-style springs, it actually has a fairly stiff spring at the back that controls this tension. This one, at least, is perfect. Much like the Auto version, it's got a lovely piece of titanium on the backspacer. They both have almost identical, in fact, they have identical lanyard spots. The overall size and dimensions is the same. This, of course, has a nice deep carry clip, which is they've started doing, and of course, you can right-hand carry it, left-hand carry it as well. This one does not. I love the milling on the aluminum scales. I have a number of aluminum scale knives that I really like. Another one's coming up probably in the next video, but one of my all-time favorites is the Hogue X5. This is an absolute monster of a knife. I went out and found a titanium pocket clip. This is a beast. It has never failed me, but I will tell you that the aluminum is a little slippery. I mean, trust me, the way this thing is built, your hand's not going anywhere. But still, when you get sweaty or you're working with this thing outside, which I've done many times, you really notice it. The fluting on this thing, and I had this thing at the garden last week, means that even when your hands get a little bit grubby, there's still grip, which is really nicely done. The hole, which is completely unnecessary on the auto here, but absolutely necessary on the manual version, is wonderfully chamfered. There's jimping here. The jimping is a little different than on the auto, right? It matches out fairly well to the jimping on the backspacer. A couple of things, and I'm sure you've seen this before, talked about. One, I love these big screws, right? I just do. However, why they got to put such big screws in this little filler plate, and particularly underneath the pocket clip? This is a lovely deep carry clip, done in that traditional Microtech stepped model where you got a couple of ways you can lock this thing down in the pocket, and then they put these giant screws in there that mean it. I don't know. Nobody asked me when they were making it, but here we are. This is the M390MK, which is apparently a very particular blend of M390 that Bohler makes specifically for Microtech, which is very cool. Everything on this knife is titanium, right, except for the blade and the spring. You can flick it out that way, which, by the way, this is my favorite thing in the world. This in California is illegal. It's this fast. Okay. This in California is completely legal. It's this fast. And if you don't want to flick it, right, you can just, I screwed that up, but you get the idea. Anyway, California's auto ban is stupid. Let's get some other specs yeah, let's get some specs out of the way and then we'll go from there. All right, as I said, this is their M390MK. You get 3 and about a 1/16 of cutting on the blade, which is fine. I just love that shape. This thing is so pokey. Anyway, so you get 3 and a tiny bit of cutting on that M390MK blade. Grip area, well, from behind this edge is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a quarter easily. Just on the handle alone, you're looking at 1, 2, 3, and well, 4, right? So you can hold it this way and it's exceptionally comfortable. You can come forward if you're working on stuff. I can hear it already. That's not enough blade for that much handle. I get it. I mean, you got stuff like this where the blade to handle ratio is astonishing, right? But I've been carrying pocket knives for 47 years, 45 years, something like that. The truth is that you almost never need more than about 3 inches of cutting. You just don't. It looks cool, it's fun, but so it's plenty of edge. It really is. You can move around on this thing all day long, change your grip to be super comfortable. It is really well done. Anyway, so 3 inches of cutting, a little tiny bit more. Lots of grip area, like I said, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half. I mean, the knife overall from tip to tail is 8.5 inches. Now, it's not exactly subtle in the pocket. The closed length on this thing, wait to that in just a second, is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 total. In the pocket, and we'll line that up here, it is 1 3/4 inches. Now, I'm a relatively big guy. I can carry big knives in my pocket without giving up the entire pocket, but if you aren't, if you're a regular old-sized human, this is going to be the only thing in your right pocket, or left pocket if you're left-handed. God, this is nice. Really is. I love this thing. I do, and I love stuff like this. Anyway, let's finish up our little overview. Let's do some size comparisons for knives you may be a little more familiar with. We'll go ahead and line it up there. I had this out earlier. This is the Ritter Hogue in Magna Cut. This is the MK. This is the MK RSK1. As you can see, we line up that spot. The Stitch is about a 1/2 inch bigger, but they're both 8 inch, a little over 8 inch knives. Of course, you get a lot more cutting area on the Ritter Hogue. Here it is against the Deca, just for specifics, as you can see. It is much larger than the Deca. Here it is against my sort of personalized PM2. It turns out I got a thing about black scales with titanium. Let's go ahead and line that up right there. As you can see, you got about a 1/4 inch larger on the Stitch. You only get about 1/8 of an inch more cutting on a PM2 here. Both of these knives have a very similar feel. Lots of handle. You can come nicely forward on the blade. But I'm sorry, the Stitch is just exponentially cooler looking. It just is. Yeah, so that's really it. I am now the proud owner of a factory second Microtech Ram-Lok aluminum scaled Stitch, and that makes me stupid happy. These are available. You can get them right now. I found them in various spots. I'll post a link in the description if they're still out there. You can get the G10 version. You can get this version. They're about $300. If you are looking for a knife that is both incredibly functional and stylish and really comfortable and good to use, the Microtech Stitch is going to do everything you need it to do. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I have been a Therapeutic Edge. I really appreciate you. I'll post a link to where you might be able to find one of these in the description. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks.